Hey, you want to be my beta? You want to be our beta? We have a lot to talk about. Today we're going to be talking about the thing that I have in my eye that has not gotten out of my eye in the past hour. Today we're talking about Planet Oster, Fertility Fusion by J.L. Lagosz. I don't know if that's how you pronounce their name, but that's what it looks like to me. And Vera Valentine, who I have talked about before because she also wrote Squeak about the balloon animal shifters. And today we have another Omegaverse, also written by Vera Valentine, that I honestly didn't think that you could get any weirder than balloon animal shifters. Vera and JL proved that wrong, because I think this is the weirdest book I have ever and will ever read in my entire life. I actually have something in my eye and it is really annoying. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bother me later. Right now it feels okay, knock on wood. I think that, no, that's wood. All right. Planet Oster is an Omegaverse, but this is a different Omegaverse. If you saw my recent video, which is basically just a class on Omegaverse and telling you what if you've never heard of the genre, what it is, what it entails, what needs to be in a book to make it Omegaverse, and what is kind of optional to be in a book to be Omegaverse. Okay, so take everything that I said in that video and kind of scramble it up in your head and imagine all the pieces are in different places. They're all kind of there, but they're all kind of like misplaced. And you know, the color coded things are not in the right color slots, and the file folders are not under the right names and things like that, because there are a lot of elements in here that is Omegaverse, but so different. And what I mean by that is so here's the cover of the book. Okay, I saw this cover a long time ago on Instagram, and I laughed at it, and I didn't even look at the story, because I was like, that's three men with bunny ears that I don't want to read about. But I ended up reading it. It starts out with this girl. Her name is, it's spelled CH''IK, but and usually an apostrophe would mean that there's a pause. So it would be Chick, I guess, but in my head I didn't like doing that, so I just called her Chick. This is such a like Eastery, I'm pretty sure it came out like as a holiday like story or something. It might have actually come out around Easter. And so the fact that her name is Chick and they're three pastel colored bunny alien men, okay, we're just getting started. So it starts out with Chick. Like I said, she's in like a bar or something. She's kind of like this spunky pilot, like smuggler or something. And she's hanging out at this bar. You can tell she's very like street savvy or like street smart. However street smart you can get in space, where, you know, you're encountering aliens and all kinds of space weirdness every day. But it skips to these three men. And they're called the Lapan. I don't know how you pronounce it. Lapan or Lapan. That is their species. They're from planet Oster. And on this planet, you have what are called clusters. And these clusters consist of alpha, beta, and omega. I don't exactly know like how big these clusters can be, and whether or not you can have two of each in a normal cluster, or like more than one of each in a normal cluster. But this particular cluster that we see, these three bunny men, and they are bunny men. They have bunny ears and they are all different colors. There's a pink one, a yellow one, and a blue one. And it took me so long to fix the colors to the names, because they all had three-letter names, and I could not for the life of me remember what color each of them was throughout the entire book. So they were all colors throughout the entire book. But I wrote it down in my notes so that I could tell you guys. These guys are space pirates. They're exiled from their homeworld of Oster. I honestly can't remember exactly why they are exiled, but they are exiled. And they are like their little cluster of outcasts, and they love each other very, very much. We have Zhao, which is the yellow one, and he is an alpha. And you have Zul, which is also an alpha, and he is blue. The alphas in this hierarchy are smaller than omegas, and I will explain why in this particular story in a second, because Roz is the pink one and he is the omega, and he's the biggest. The reason for that is because the way that their breeding works is the omega will produce eggs, and these eggs are unfertilized. He cannot carry these eggs to term. So he just has these 3 little glowing eggs, and they glow. You can actually see them glowing through his stomach. In this world, the beta is the one that has to carry the eggs to term. The beta is the one that incubates them. But because they don't have a beta in their cluster, he's always produced these eggs, and then the eggs would pass. I'm kind of assuming like a period, like because they're not fertilized, so the eggs would pass. And every time this happens, they grieve because all they want is a family, but they have not been able to find a beta. So Roz, in the beginning of the story, he has 3 eggs in his belly, and they are all very sad because they don't think they're gonna find a beta for these eggs, and they're all kind of preparing to grieve over the fact that these eggs are going to pass and they will not have any babies. And they go to this like spaceport, and they go into this bar, they smell this beta, and they get incredibly excited, and they see this human woman at the bar who is kind of having a little like argument or like encounter with another alien, and they swoop in there and they start a bar fight for her to defend her honor because she is a beta and they really want her. They invite her onto their ship. She has a very junky like ship that's not really running too well, and she has like this contraband in her possession. And so she could really use a ride on a better ship to get out of there or something. There's more to the deal than that, but I can't remember what it is. Point is, she could really use their help. And so they pitched the idea of helping her out if, what's his name? Roz, the pink one, holding the eggs, can bang her and transfer his eggs into her because she is the beta and she's going to incubate them. Basically, they want to get her pregnant so that she can carry their eggs. And then they all kind of think after that, you can be on your merry way. You did us this huge favor, we'll do you this favor, and it'll be great. And then you can leave and we'll have our babies. So Chick, being somebody who has done a lot in her life, kind of thinks about it, and she's like, you know what, I've done worse. I've done weirder. So why not? You know, I like to have sex, and I can have sex with 3 sexy bunnies and get pregnant for a bit, and then I can continue having more sex, and then I can leave, and it'll be a win-win for everybody. So she agrees. She then has to have sex with Roz, the omega, so that he can lay his eggs inside of her. Any book with like more than one partner, I'm not huge into that. It's not something that I seek out. And this is one of those reasons. Because she's having this grand old time having sex with this giant muscly bunny man. She is doing it right in front of the other 2. And they're all just like, it's a sparkly moment because they know he's laying their eggs in her and they're gonna have babies. So they're super excited, and they're just sitting on the sidelines going, oh my God, we're gonna have children. And I'm pretty sure one of them holds her hand while she's like, you know, about to go, and it's just weird. It was weird. Vera, you write some of the craziest shit. And that was in the very first part of the book, and that kind of shapes what this world and what this story is going to be from that point on. It's going to be weird, and I was prepared, but I wasn't prepared. Chick is now pregnant with these little glowing eggs, and now they glow in her belly, like they visibly glow through her stomach. Very obvious that she is pregnant with bunny babies because you can see them. And there was this really awkward moment actually where they go to this like space station, and there's some alien that does not understand the concept of pregnancy. And because it sees these like 3 glowing things in her stomach, it starts like freaking out and yelling at her because I don't know why. It yells at her because like its language is really, it's just a really awkward moment where it was like, did you eat the babies? And she's like, no, they're babies. They're growing inside of me. He's like, why are they in your stomach? The way that it was written, I just imagined like this really weird creature just like yelling in this monotone voice, like, why did you eat the babies? Are they for eating? And it was just the weirdest. It was almost horrifying. It was kind of scary, actually. I was like, is this guy gonna eat her babies? Get out of there. After the Omega lays his eggs inside of Chick, then the others have to fertilize them, and that means they have to have sex with her. Except because this is like a business transaction, they opt out of doing like the sex, and they have like these little tubes where they all like masturbate into. And this is a good time to point out that their jizz is the same color as their fur. So the pink one jizz is pink, the blue one jizz is blue, and the yellow one jizz is yellow. So they're all supposed to like do the thing inside these little tubes, and then they're supposed to inject it into the beta. But of course, our beta wants sex. She is a girl and she has needs. And these bunny men are just so sexy. She just really wants to do the real thing. Because even though the Omega laid the eggs, he still has to like fertilize them. So they do the thing. She does the thing with either the blue one or the pink one. I can't remember which. But then one of the other ones, the blue one or the pink one, goes into her room and he's like, I got a bottle of jizz for you. I gotta do it. So he does it. And she's like, all right, fine. And it's a whole thing. They make it very erotic. So she's got one of the colors in her already. And then the other color and her have this like super steamy moment. And when they're finished, she is leaking purple. And this bunny, we're just gonna say it's the blue one because I honestly can't remember which one. This bunny jumps back and he goes, it's purple. What's wrong? Did I kill one of the eggs? Why is it purple? And she's like, what? It's never happened like that. It's never been that color. What are you talking about? He is freaking out, like on the verge of tears. And then she kind of sits there for a second and she's like, wait, blue and pink makes purple. Anyways, that was a whole thing. That was a whole dramatic, emotional section of the book because it was purple. And apparently that has never happened before. And I think this was one of the many times that I burst out laughing out loud to myself when I was reading this. I just burst out laughing. So after all of them have fertilized these eggs, they start to realize that they're all starting to get feelings for each other, and they start considering trying to keep Chick with them. And Chick is starting to consider, so she's like kind of a lone wolf. She doesn't really get attached to people. That is her way. But she starts getting attached to these bunny boys. And like, you know, her inner monologue is saying, no, I screw everything up. I'm not staying. I'm just having these babies. And then that's it. We're parting ways. I'm never going to see them again. But as the book progresses, her feelings start to grow. She starts getting attached to the little eggies in her tummy. And, you know, their relationship starts to evolve. There's an instance where Chick's ex-boyfriend, who's like this bird man, like chases them down through space to get revenge on Chick. And it's this whole fight. And he's kind of like on comms the whole time, telling her like how crazy she is and all this other stuff. And he mentions that she has a deformity and that it was disgusting. And we're gonna revisit that later. So after she's chased down by her ex and they have this whole battle, they have to repair the stasis fields on their ship. And in order to do that, they have to go to this space station or this place where Zhao, one of the alphas, the yellow alpha, apparently, as small as he is, big in comparison to other species, but small in comparison to his cluster, is a very good fighter. And this particular space station knows him because he is a very good fighter and he always wins his fights. So they go here and they're planning to fight him in these pits or whatever, or the scrum, I think it's called, and collect all that money and then repair their ship. It was weird hearing them talk about a yellow bunny man walking around like he is so tough and so like scary, because all I could think of is, you have a tail. You have a fluffy little tail and you put these tight little shorts on to go fight in this arena, and I can see your fluffy little tail and your little ears. And I couldn't see it. During their time on this space station, while they're waiting for Zhao to fight, Chick picks up a taste for what is called tit beast juice or milk. I can't remember, but it is something that's produced by these really ugly, grotesque aliens. And it just made me think of the blue milk from, blue or green milk from Star Wars. When Luke is milking that weird, like, beast on the beach, that's what it made me think of. And apparently it's really gross to a lot of, like, these bunny men, like, they think it's disgusting, but Chick loves it. And she is just, like, eating it up. And I just thought that was hilarious because she has such a huge thing for tit beast juice. So Zhao wins these fights. And after he wins the fight, he's so worked up that he just has to bang. And so he takes his beta onto the ship and they bang hard. I mean, these are some of the dirtiest sex scenes that I have read in books, and they were between this little human and bunnies with six-packs. But there is actually something that I haven't gotten into yet. You might be asking, why was a human a beta to these three bunny guys? Because a lot of times in Omegaverse, their alpha, omega, beta traits are genetic. Why was this random human a beta? Why were they attracted to her? Well, there's an answer to that. And I think it was the most outrageous part of the book that I think I visibly fell on the floor because I was so, like, it was a Spanish soap opera in my head, but like on a ship with alien bunny guys. They all asked this question. Then they asked, why were we attracted to Chick if she is a human? She's not Lapan. Why did we scent her, and why did we get led to her? And they're kind of sitting around talking about it, and Chick's kind of sitting there on the sidelines, like just watching them talk about it. And they go, well, I mean, she does have this white streak in her hair, which she does. She has like a white streak in her hair out of nowhere. And they're like, usually betas have some patch of white fur. And she goes, a lot of people have a blonde streak in their hair. It doesn't mean anything. And then one of them goes, yeah, it doesn't mean anything. It's not like she has a third nipple, because apparently betas of their species have 3 of them. And as soon as he says that, Chick kind of like stiffens up and she goes, mm. And all of them look at her and she goes, you remember how my ex, when he was chasing us down, said that I was horribly deformed and he thought it was disgusting? She pulls down her coveralls. She pulls them down, and it was just a total Chandler moment from Friends. She pulls them down and she turns around and there's something on her back. And they go, is that? And she goes, it's my third nipple. And they're all just sitting there like, and I quite literally dropped my phone and was just dying. I was laughing out loud. I was laughing to myself. I couldn't even pick up the book again that day. I had to take a break because I was just so like, this book is on a whole nother level. She has 3 nipples. And I don't know, they try to make it like a thing later in the book because it's just so cold on this ship that all 3 of her nipples were hard. So she is part Lapan. We don't know how much, but she has bunny alien blood in her, and that is why they scented her, because when an omega is searching for a beta, he gives off these pheromones which betas can like pick up on, and that is why they could sense her in the bar and they found her, and that's how they got together. After these fights, and they do all their things, and then they're like repairing their ship and stuff, and they finally ask Chick. They're like, do you want to stay with us? I know the plan was for you to have these babies and just leave, and we respect that, but we would really like you to stay. And she argues with them, being like, I ruin everything. Everything I touch turns to shit, and I don't know why you guys would want me here. And they say, well, we want you here, so the decision is up to you whether or not you want to stay. And eventually she's like, yes, I want to stay. I feel so at home with you guys. I love all of you. I love having sex with you. You're all great, and I feel like I have a family. I'm getting attached to the babies, who hiccup a lot, by the way. So she decides she wants to stay. But one of their cousins, I think it's Zool. I think Zool is of noble blood on Oster. I may be mistaken on which one it is, but I think it's Zool. Anyways, he has this cousin who chases them down, And there's this whole other like side story to something that they were smuggling, that something that's very important to the Le Pen on Oster and all this other stuff. But anyways, he comes out and he's like, I can't believe you found this beta is not even Le Pen, and blah blah blah, I'm a bully. And so they kidnap her. The climax of the book is them trying to get her back, and she is being held captive in some mushroom factory. It is like this place with like these giant mushrooms, and so the whole like ending of the book is them like navigating. It's this action scene where they're like navigating these mushroom, like this factory full of mushrooms. Mushroom falls on one of them, and not like, it's a whole mess. But they get her back, and then they all go to their ship, and they have a big, dirty orgy. It is the first time in the book where all three of them, or all four of them, do it at the same time. Because before they were kind of all having their private moments, this is the first time that they all just like converge. And it is a big, ice-breaking moment where they all accept that they are a cluster and that she is part of that cluster. And it is a dirty, dirty scene. And then it goes on to the epilogue where she has these babies. And that is the book that I just finished. That is Planet Oster, Fertility Fusion. Essentially, Easter bunnies with six-packs in space and lots of sex. But it was definitely entertaining, and that is why it's going under I read it so you don't have to. But if you are into weird shit, if you are into really dirty sex scenes, if you are into space adventures, because somehow this book is actually well written, and the world building is pretty good. That is weird to say, and it might surprise some of you that I even said it at all, but it was actually like well thought out. I don't know, I have to assume that these two authors wrote this to just be a wacky, weird, fun, awkward, funny time, because that's what it was for me. It was all so weird, and I was laughing nonstop. I hope that was their intention, because that's what happened. And if you would like to go on that weird, wild, crazy ride, I recommend taking a few drinks first. But it was definitely like something that's going down. I mean, I'm gonna remember this book forever. It was bizarre, but I will remember it forever, and I will tell people about it forever. So that was the book. And if you want to pick it up and you want to go on the crazy ride, it's on Kindle Unlimited. Hit that subscribe button if you guys want to see more of this weird crap. Hit the like button, it really helps me out. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye!